Good morning dear students and welcome to Genesis. Well, this lecture of mine is in continuation to my lectures on the chapter Respiration in Plants. और आज हम लोग mainly पढ़ने वाले हैं one experiment which is to demonstrate that during anaerobic respiration germinating seeds release carbon dioxide. इसके अलावा we will also discuss the differences between photosynthesis and respiration and some characteristic features which are different in respiration in plants and in respiration in animals. ठीक है? So let us start with the experiment. Now to demonstrate that carbon dioxide is given out by a seed during anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic का मतलब है absence of oxygen. तो अगर किसी सेल को absence of oxygen में रखा जाए, then during that condition a cell does anaerobic respiration where it releases carbon dioxide. लेकिन याद रखना दिस कैन नॉट प्रोलॉन्ग फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग स्पैन ऑफ टाइम. ज़्यादा दिन अगर आप किसी सीड को एनाएरोबिक कंडीशन में रख देते हैं देन इट इज गोइंग टू डाई. लेकिन इस एक्सपेरिमेंटल सेटअप में हम लोग 2 to 3 डेज के लिए कुछ सीड्स को यूज करेंगे एंड वी आर गोइंग टू सी व्हाट हैपेंस. नाउ हियर वी हैव बेसिकली टेकन जर्मिनेटिंग सीड्स, ओके, बट इनको पहले हमने सोक किया है एंड वी हैव ऑल्सो पील्ड देयर स्किन. ऐसा हमने क्यों किया? सो दैट देयर कैन बी इजी डिफ्यूजन ऑफ गैसेस. नाउ इन अ टेस्ट ट्यूब वी हैव फिल्ड द टेस्ट ट्यूब विथ मर्करी और उसी टेस्ट ट्यूब में हमने इन सीड्स को रखा एंड देन व्हाट वी डू इज वी जस्ट फ्लिप द टेस्ट ट्यूब इन अ बीकर which also contains mercury. So in both the cases the test tube as well as the beaker remember has mercury. Now जब हमने ऐसे सेटअप को फ्लिप करके छोड़ दिया फॉर 2 to 3 days, हमने देखा देयर इज अ गैप दैट गेट्स क्रिएटेड एट द टिप, ओके, और रादर एट द बॉटम ऑफ द इन्वर्टेड टेस्ट ट्यूब. और इस गैप में क्या प्रोड्यूस हुआ है? दैट मस्ट हैव पुश्ड द सीड्स डाउनवर्ड्स. हमने देखा सीड पहले यहां था, आफ्टर 2 to 3 days they have come down. And in fact also we find that after 2 to 3 days the mercury has been pushed down from the test tube. इसीलिए बीकर में भी मर्करी का लेवल बढ़ गया है in comparison to what it was. So test tube से मर्करी का लेवल डाउन हुआ है, mercury has gone up in the beaker and there is some gap that gets created at the bottom of the inverted test tube. लेकिन इस गैप में है क्या? We wanted to find out. So what have we done is हमने कुछ पोटेशियम हाइड्रोक्साइड के pellets, and you already know potassium hydroxide की property क्या है? It actually absorbs carbon dioxide. So with the help of a stick we have tried to insert the potassium hydroxide inside the test tube. As it goes up it starts to absorb the gas which is present here. और हमने देखा कि ये गैस absorb भी हो जाता है and वापस ये level of mercury goes up. मतलब वो जहाँ पे एक vacuum create होता है which actually pulls the mercury level back to the top. So इतना तो clear हो गया कि वो जो गैप था, इस गैप में पहले जो create हुआ था it was filled with carbon dioxide gas. और ये carbon dioxide किसने produce किया होगा? These germinating seeds were producing them. Anaerobic condition क्यों है? क्योंकि पूरा test tube mercury से filled है. So condition anaerobic है, उसमें germinating seed ने carbon dioxide produce किया और वो हमने proof कैसे किया? potassium hydroxide को जब हमने insert किया तो उसने immediately CO2 को absorb कर लिया. As a result of which एक vacuum create हुआ. This vacuum pulls the level of the mercury back to normal. जैसा था वैसा ही कुछ देर बाद level of mercury ऊपर आ जाएगा along with the seeds. Hence it is proved that during anaerobic respiration these germinating seeds produce carbon डाइऑक्साइड. अच्छा, इस एक्सपेरिमेंटल सेटअप का कोई कंट्रोल बन सकता है? यस, ऑफ कोर्स हमने यहाँ पे कंट्रोल रखा था जिसमें हमने जर्मिनेटिंग सीड नहीं रखा, बॉइल्ड सीड रखा, वॉश्ड इट थॉरोली इन एंटीसेप्टिक एंड सेम सेटअप रखा. वहां क्या होगा? वहां ये जो फर्स्ट कंडीशन है, दिस इज हाउ इट स्टार्टेड, ऐसा ही रह जाता है इवन आफ्टर 2 to 3 days. दैट मींस टेस्ट ट्यूब में कोई चेंज ही नहीं होता. यहां से ये वाला कन्वर्शन सिर्फ एक्सपेरिमेंटल सेटअप में हुआ है, कंट्रोल में नहीं. Because in control the dead seeds they do not respire, they do not produce carbon dioxide. So हम कुछ भी changes उसमें नहीं देख पाएंगे. Now let us understand the differences between two very important processes. One is photosynthesis, another respiration. So respiration, it basically happens within the living cells. When we talk about photosynthesis, it can happen only in those cells which contain chlorophyll pigment. That means plant cells. The second important point, it is happening all the time, but photosynthesis happens only in presence of light. Third, respiration uses oxygen and glucose. So during respiration we know that glucose and oxygen, they are used up to produce carbon dioxide energy, whereas in case of photosynthesis they use carbon dioxide and water to produce glucose. Next is, in case of respiration, carbon dioxide is the end product, but in case of photosynthesis, it is oxygen gas which is liberated out and is the end product. Respiration, chemical energy is converted into heat and useful form of energy. So in respiration, the chemical energy, which is glucose, is converted or broken down to produce heat and some useful energy which is utilized by the cell for various metabolic activities. But in case of photosynthesis, the light energy, as in solar radiation, it is converted into chemical form of energy which is glucose or is stored in the form of starch in the body of the plant. Then in case of respiration, there will be a loss of weight because the glucose is constantly broken down to release energy. But in case of photosynthesis, there is a gain of weight because here glucose is synthesized. And the last and the most crisp answer for the difference is, respiration itself is a catabolic process because here something is broken down to release new products, whereas photosynthesis is an anabolic process where substances are added up to produce something new. Let us understand how respiration is little different in plants and in animals. See, the first point is, in case of respiration in plants, no gaseous transport is needed. That means the respiratory gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide, they are simply diffused out through the pores which are present on the body of the plants like stomata, lenticels. You do not require any special respiratory system for this. On the other hand, when we talk about animals, since basic diffusion is not enough in animals, we have specialized connective tissue like blood, which transports respiratory gases within the body. Second point, if there is anaerobic respiration in case of plants, then already by an experiment we have proved that they produce carbon dioxide, and apart from that there is also some amount of ethyl alcohol that is produced. Whereas when we talk about anaerobic respiration in case of animals, then the end product that is produced is lactic acid, and this accumulation of lactic acid in your muscle cells cause muscle pain. Last point is, in case of respiration in plants, the amount of heat produced is less in comparison to the amount of heat produced by animals, or the amount of heat produced in animals. Okay, so with this we have finished this chapter, respiration in plants. I'm going to start the new chapter soon. Meanwhile, keep revising, post your doubt, and do not forget to subscribe and share my channel. Thank you.